Good morning.
So Mom is doing a tube feed, but with the syringe, which is how we typically do it because we can be mobile like this. And for whatever reason, I figure that I've noticed that he throws up less with this. So I prefer to use the tube feed. The nurse who cares for Austin when I'm at work prefers the pump. But she's not chasing Robert around when she's here. So this works better for me. And for you, in my opinion. What do you think? So we just do a little bit at a time, about 5 milliliters, and then wait. And then we do a little bit more. And we wait. And we just do this until it's all done. Right? Are you liking that camera? Are you liking that camera? What do you think? You know you're on film? Huh? He typically happier sitting up on my lap. Sometimes I can put him in the high chair and sit him up there, or lay him in the boppy and feed him a little bit, but he definitely needs to be propped up, or you'll see a little bit of milk run out the side of his mouth or from reflux. And that's Robert in the background. Yeah. What do you think? Huh? What do you think? You hanging out? And I'll typically put 5.5 ounces through this or through the feeding pump over about 40 minutes. What'd you think? Huh?
He's like, what is that?
What is it?
Like a good opportunity for him to like almost suck on your hand. Looked like he was trying to.
And sometimes he will. You know, like I'll put my thumb or something in his mouth, or put his hand to his mouth, and he will like kind of, I guess you'd say, nurse against it.
Mm-hmm. And when he sucks on your thumb, do you feel him really like sucking pretty good? Like
Sometimes.
good, nice.
Sometimes it's more like he's just gumming it a little bit, but every now and then, typically if your finger stays on the outside of his mouth, he'll do this against it. But if you put your finger inside of his mouth, he'll go into an extension. Let's see what happens here. I'm hesitant to do it because I don't want him to throw up, but what do you think? I was doing this the other day, and when I was feeding him and sitting him on my lap, and he was, as my finger was outside of his mouth, he kind of nursed on my knuckle, and then I said, well, let me put it in his mouth and see if he will, nurse on my finger, and he threw up everywhere. So it made him gag when he went into the extension. What do you think, bud? Can you pick your head up?
Does he seem more sensitive in the morning when he first initially wakes up? Do you have better success with him sucking like later on during the day, or?
Honestly, I haven't noticed a trend there. He definitely throws up more first thing in the morning. Like his gag reflex is stronger. Like I don't try and bottle feed him with the first morning feed because the gag reflex, for whatever reason, is much more prominent, and the reflux is worse. So I don't know whether he's got a little bit of, sinus drainage or something that's occurred over the night when he's laying down for a while. But that first morning feed is always really tough, which is why I do it slow and through this, because it works better for me. Or I have more success with him not throwing up doing it this way. But then typically throughout the rest of the day, he doesn't usually throw up much at all, if at all. It's just almost consistently the first morning feed that he vomits. At least a portion, an ounce or something of it. So keeping him upright, not messing with his mouth too much in the morning, and using the syringe and just slowly pumping in a little bit. And I'm not sure whether the pump doesn't watch his body language. So if he starts to seem uncomfortable, obviously I don't pump the milk in at that moment, so maybe it's intuition, and that when he's calm, I pump some milk in. When he starts to get upset or arch or whatever his movement is, then I don't push this in, right? Whereas the pump doesn't know, it's not intelligent, it doesn't know what he's doing, it just pumps in milk whether he's upset or not, and he typically vomits more
with a pump
in the morning. Now the rest of the day, he's typically fine with that, but so I usually do my feeding sessions with Austin in the evening, like around 7 o'clock when Robert's having dinner.
Yeah.
We try and make a mealtime out of that. Robert eats. I try and bottle feed Austin, and then if he won't, and I also try and do some purees for taste and things. And if he, whatever he won't eat, which is probably 90%, I put in through the tube, even the solids. So sometimes I mix the purees in with the milk and just push those through the tube, whatever he doesn't take orally. Yeah, and he does fine with milk and purees both. Sometimes mixed, sometimes not. In fact, I think he throws up the pureed foods less than he throws up the milk, maybe because of the thickness. Maybe it stays down a little better with the reflux.
Mm-hmm.
But the first morning feed is always the worst. And I've tried thickening his formula with like a rice or an oatmeal in the morning, and that doesn't seem to help. It seems to be more related to watching his body language, keeping him upright, keeping him happy from going into extensions or getting emotionally upset in some way, and just only pushing the milk in when he's in a nice calm state like this, because if he gets upset or struggling with his positioning or in an arching, when his tone kicks in, then that's typically when he vomits. And laying down is bad because you see it'll just pour out the side of his mouth. It's like there's just no cork on the top of his stomach to hold it in. It just, if you tilt him over, it just rolls right out.
Aww.
Hey. So see, he got upset then, and I clearly wasn't pumping formula in at that time. Whereas the pump would have just been
continuously going.
Right. So I like this better. Plus, I can just get up and go versus having to drag a pole around and get Robert if he's getting into trouble or something.
Yeah.
What do you think? Want to say hi to the camera? Hi.
He's watching cartoons.
Are you watching TV? Are you watching TV? Yeah. And it helps to do little stretches and things during these feeds, in a pause of of pushing the formula in. We'll do our little runner stretches and stuff like this during this time where he's calm and there's nothing else to do but sit here and slowly feed him and hold him upright, so it's a good time to sneak in some therapy as well. Right? What do you think? You like to do your morning stretches?
Yes, I do.
Who's that? Sit Dada. You see Dada.
Good morning.
We're filming for that workshop.
Dada's here. Is that good? We've got about 10 minutes on this video.
we need a